Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, Gio. Hi.
Afternoon, everyone. We will take questions in English first, and then if there's any Dutch questions, we will take Dutch questions at the end. Mark, do you want to kick us off?
Gio, first and foremost, can you bring us up to speed with your squad? You had a couple of doubts from the weekend. How is everyone looking?
Well, we have Glenn Kamara is... Okay.
Yeah.
Kamara is back, and Reed Van and Ben Davies still not available. So. Ben Davies and Yilmaz not available.
I'm just going to check that's all right. That sounds terrible. I just want to make sure.
Is my voice or what? I have a frog in my mind.
It's okay to the recording, but if we can just do it.
Yeah, in the room. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
You want it again? We have Kamara coming back in the squad, and we have Lundstrom not available because suspension, and Yilmaz will not be ready. He will be out for several weeks, and Ben Davies didn't train. Hopefully will be involved in the weekend, but tomorrow it's too early.
Can you try and sum up the difference in the two teams from when you first met on match day one?
The two teams? Well, I can only speak of my team. I mean, it's obviously we have a difficult run in Europe this season in Champions League, and we have the last chance tomorrow to have a positive result. So that's what we are trying to do, and that's all that matters for us tomorrow. And I only want to talk about my team.
The group benefited massively from good results in Europe last season. How damaging could it be if you went through the group not winning a game, not getting a point?
Well, I mean, it will be disappointed, of course, because we knew the opposition we are facing in Champions League is from a much higher level than we faced last season. You can see all the games we played. It's been really tough, and once we qualified in Holland against PSV, I knew it's going to be a really tough European season, as I also had with my old team Feyenoord in Champions League, only get the first 3 points the last game at home against Napoli. So there was a similar experience. But yeah, you want to have always the highest level of opponents. That's why you are, a top player and a club. You want to be involved in the highest level, although it means, the opposition is quite strong. And so it will be disappointing not to get any points. Still one game to be played, but then, we have to switch back to all the domestic competition we are involved still.
What kind of difference do you think it could make, Gio, if you did get your first point tomorrow, or even your first 3?
Well, it's been positive. I mean, it's it's, as I said, the group is really hard. If you see Ajax, they have from so far only 3 points. Last season they had 100% record in Europe in Champions League, and tomorrow we can even that points if we win. So that's let's see the level, especially Napoli and Liverpool showed in this group. But it's got to be still a really hard game because Ajax is a very, very good team.
Yeah, what kind of performance do you think you'll need from your team tomorrow to compete with Ajax and to beat them? Your best of the season, maybe?
Well, we need to be on, our form needs to be there. And especially in Europe, you have to be 90 minutes, you have to be focused because a lot of moments in this campaign, we're getting punished not to be 100%, over the 90 minutes against Napoli. Of course, with the sending off and the 3 penalties, it's always hard. But the first 60, 65 minutes, we were, well in the game. Against Liverpool, we were only 65 minutes. And then, of course, with the substitutions and the injuries we had, then, we dropped and, they punished us big time. So we need to have, our level, but the level for 90 minutes, that's what's expected and what's needed in the Champions League.
I know how hard this group has been with last season's finalists. Napoli, a team that maybe could go as far as the final. They look very good. But in your mind, do you think Rangers could and should be able to compete with Ajax?
We compete with Ajax, a team who's almost played the final, and they are 5-6 years in a row, like doing well in Europe. We haven't been, we're doing well in Europe the last 3 years. We're still, not at the same level as Ajax, but we are developing, and that's that's the way it is. It's the way the differences are in Europe at the moment. If you see Ajax, it's I think the players overall are from a higher level. Their budget is high. They bought for 100 million. They bought another bad defender from us last season. So it's we cannot compare ourselves with Ajax, but we can compete with them on the day, and especially at home at Ibrox.
Given that, Giovanni, do you consider yourself, when you go to the change room, do you expect to win when you're at home? It's the final game. Do you and your players expect to win tomorrow night, even though there's this disparity in both finances and European experience?
Well, you expect to win in Champions League. No one can expect to win. Not one team in Europe goes in the pitch and okay, we expect to win. The level is so hard and so competitive. If you look at all the results in Europe against even the big teams, they're not assured of winning games. So why should we go on the pitch and expect us to win against Ajax? We're gonna work hard for it. We're gonna give a really a good game against them, and that's different. But our approach should be humble, and we know we can be strong at home because we showed that also this season, but also last season. But it's not easy to get a result. You have to really work hard for it, and don't go in the game and expect that we're gonna win the game.
What do you think is more important tomorrow night then? The result, getting 3 points a point, or the manner of performance overall, the actual display?
Well, I think if we have a positive display and a good performance, that will bring us closer to a positive result.
Giovanni, you mentioned there about this Rangers team is developing at this level in Europe. What has this Champions League campaign taught you about this Rangers team that you maybe didn't know before?
What I didn't know about my team, well, it's a whole different level. How many players in my team play Champions League?
Just about kind of playing at this level, what has it taught you?
That was a question. We have players coming from the Championship, or even played in the B team, or it's a whole different level. And I've experienced the level as a player. I had the first experience with Feyenoord, playing as Juventus my first year, and didn't realize how much the level was in Europe, and until I played against Zidane and Deschamps and Del Piero, then I knew, well, this is a different level. This is the level I want to reach, and that experience, my players face the same this season.
Gio, there's been a lot of talk this season about Morelos, Čolak, or even both in a match tomorrow when you do require 5 goals, I believe, to have any hope of getting European football.
It would be easy. 5 goals will be easy.
Is this perhaps a game to test that out when you need to score so many goals?
No.
Gio, can I just ask about James Sands? Obviously, if Davies is out, maybe likely he'll start with the centre-back pairing that you finished with at the weekend. He's been out of the team for a little while since his red card against Napoli. How impressed were you with him at the weekend, and what can he give you in place of Davies at centre-back?
Well, I think his performances in the last games are really positive. Switching. We had to switch positions a lot. With Lundstrom, with Sands coming as a 6 or play as a centre-back. But he's a very smart player, so he can play either positions. It's not ideally you have to move players so many times in the last weeks, but we have to do it because of the injuries we have. So, but I'm really pleased with his performance, and he's giving a lot of intelligence to the team with the way he plays with his passing and his positions.
Any final English questions before we take some Dutch questions, guys? Over to the left.
What was it with Yilmaz? What was the injury? And is he up?
He had a hamstring injury. Yeah.
After the World Cup, is that when we're going to see him? You said.
Well, it will definitely be after the World Cup. I don't know how long exactly, but he will not be involved in the remaining games until the break.
Okay. Yeah.
Ja, hi, dit is Eline de Zeeuw van de NOS. Goeiedag.
Nederlands.
Na de eerste wedstrijd sprak je heel lovend over Ajax en de manier waarop ze speelden. Hoe kijk je nu naar Ajax, 2 maanden later?
Nog steeds hetzelfde. in competitie staan ze weer bovenaan. Ze hebben natuurlijk een mindere periode gehad qua resultaten. Maar ik denk dat Ajax op dit moment ook in de Champions League en zeker in onze groep ook zeg maar de tegenstander het moeilijk heeft. En Napoli natuurlijk heel moeilijk uit en thuis. Liverpool ook. En wat ik zei, het is de eerste wedstrijd, de eerste 3 punten. Daarna ook geen punt. Dus laat zien hoe groot het verschil is in deze groep met de eerste 2 en plek nummer 3 en 4.
Sorry, just wait for interpretation. Thank you.
So after the first match, you were very. You expressed that you were impressed. How do you feel about that now? Ajax has certainly had a bit of a less good period, certainly in our group, and they've had difficult times both at home and away. And they got the first 3 points, and it shows the difference between the top 2 teams in the group and the others.
Denk je van dit Ajax te kunnen winnen?
Ik denk dat wij zeker een kans maken morgen. We spelen thuis. We hebben eigenlijk zowel tegen Napoli als Liverpool zaten we goed in de wedstrijd. Alleen we hebben dat niet vol kunnen houden voor de 90 minuten. Napoli was natuurlijk met 10 man en 3 penalties tegen. Dan weet je dat het moeilijk wordt. En Liverpool was eigenlijk een uur lang waren we competitief. En het laatste half uur met de wissels die ze hadden, werden we eigenlijk de laatste half uur weggetikt. En lijkt heel veel doelpunten tegen gehad. Maar we moeten morgen daar wel 90 minuten staan. Omdat het eigenlijk ook een team is waar je gewoon top moet zijn op de avond. Maar ik denk dat we zeker een kans maken op een goed resultaat.
So do you think that you can win this? I certainly do. At home against both Napoli and Liverpool, it went well, but we didn't manage to keep it up for the full 90 minutes. We played half an hour of very competitive football, but the last half an hour it just didn't go so well. And tomorrow it's the 90 minutes, and we're gonna go for it.
Gonna go for it.
Mag ik nog één vraag
One
more question. Afgelopen weekend wonnen jullie van Aberdeen. Volgens de Schotse collega's een van de beste prestaties van dit seizoen van jullie op het veld. Geeft dat ook nog een soort momentum mee aan de ploeg?
Dat denk ik wel. Ik denk dat je natuurlijk als je in de competitie hebben we eigenlijk vorige week de eerste 2 punten laten liggen en na een aantal weken. Het spel was ook niet zoals we zaterdag hadden. Uiteindelijk hebben we natuurlijk 2 punten verloren in de competitie. Je verliest uit bij Napoli en dan moet je weer teruggaan naar het goede gevoel. En zeker de 3 punten, omdat dat het belangrijkste is. Maar met name ook de manier waarop we zaterdag wonnen geeft het team ook het vertrouwen om morgen gewoon voor een goed resultaat te gaan.
So the last weekend it went really well against Aberdeen. It was a great result, and we had the momentum. And that game, the game was not like it was on Saturday against the other teams, and the way in which we won was the kind of way we want to keep playing.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry, we need to go. Yeah, we're on the clock. Sorry.
Je hebt het nooit goede vragen, toch?
Hele goede vraag. Heb je het bedankt voor de missie altijd?
Ik ben het wacht. Hij komt 5 uur, hè? Je moet even vragen of ik meega. Dat was vorige keer vergeten.
Wat vind je van zijn ontwikkeling?
Dat is een goede speler.
Ja. Maar?
Nou ja, dat is wel. Ik denk dat hij beter kan.
I know, I love that joke.
We'll just start with Mark, please.
Are we doing a same again?
Just all in, yeah, same again.
James, I wonder how difficult it's been for you players to look at the group table throughout this and have that 0 against the team's name. Talk to us about the frustrations of the campaign, if you can.
Yeah, I mean, anyone can see it's certainly been tough for us. You know, a lot of the results have not gone the way we would have liked. But I think we've all kind of learned that we need to take the emotion out of it a little bit and focus on, you know, the aspects of the game that we can do better, what we have done well, and you know, I think that makes it a little easier to deal with when you just focus on the process and not the results. And you know, I think tomorrow night is our last chance to kind of, you know, try and prove what we've learned, and you know, a good opportunity for all of us.
There is a danger potentially if the result doesn't go your way tomorrow, you could statistically be the worst team in the Champions League groups across the years. Is that something that sort of spurs you on? You don't want to have that sort of against you as a group?
I mean, a little bit maybe, but I think we're more just focused on the opportunity, and you know, you never know how many Champions League games you'll get to play. You know, you could go on to play 100, or this could be your last one. So I think for all of us, it's more about, you know, taking advantage of the opportunity rather than, you know, defending against an unfortunate record.
Just finally, personally, I just wonder the motivation from that game against Napoli and how difficult a night that was for you.
Yeah, it was certainly difficult. You know, as a young player, you know I'm going to make mistakes. You know, I know I'll have a lot more, you know, highs and lows ahead. But you know, as I said before, as long as I have learned from it and, you know, learned kind of what the mistake was, then, you know, I think that's fine. And you know, just trying to, you know, implement what I have learned, and you know, hoping for a positive result tomorrow night.
Yeah, James, you called it a last chance. I just wonder how big a match this is and could be for you and the rest of the group in front of a packed crowd here for the last time in the Champions League.
Yeah, I think we all kind of feel that the fans deserve, you know, a little something. You know, they've waited a long time to see us play in Champions League, so you know, I think we're all pretty eager to get a good result for them, and you know, a good result, you know, for us. It definitely has been a challenging couple of weeks in this competition, but you know, I think the game on the weekend was a big step forward for this group, and we're kind of hoping just to build on that.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I know the step up from domestic to Champions League is pretty huge.
Yeah.
How much of a difference do you think that could make from the weekend, and what kind of things are you looking to build upon going into tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I think this this past game on the weekend is the best that the team has played in weeks. So even though there is kind of a quality gap between, you know, the league and the, you know, Champions League, I think, you know, the same principles kind of apply, and you know, you'll have less time. It'll be more difficult, but I think you keep trying to do the same things, being positive, being aggressive, and you know, I think that's how you get a good result against the top teams.
James, you talk about building on the weekend's performance. Do you think that a victory or even a point in the Champions League your first of the season could spur you on and give you a real good push right up until the World Cup?
Yeah, I think so. You know, the games have really come thick and fast, and it's, you know, tough sometimes to kind of think about individual games. But as I said before, I think as long as we keep learning from all these experiences, then you know, it's the best way to get a positive result. And you know, there's nothing that builds momentum like a big win, and I think that's what we had. And you know, we'll aim for another positive result tomorrow night.
James, can I ask how much you enjoyed being back in the team at the weekend? Obviously, since the red card, it was, I think, maybe your first start. Mm-hmm. What was it like being out there for the whole 90 minutes and switching positions at halftime? Yeah, it certainly was a little bit of a tough period there after the red card. You know, I was out of the team for a bit, but I recognize that when you make mistakes, you get dropped from the team, and that's kind of the responsibility you have, you know, playing at a big club like this. But I'm, you know, happy with myself that I've pushed through it and, you know, had a good performance on the weekend. You know, as for playing both positions, it's just what the team needs at the minute. You know, we have a lot of injuries, and you know, whatever helps the team at this point, I'm willing to do. Do you feel now, having been here almost a year, that supporters with performances like the weekend are starting to see what your best qualities are and what you can bring to this team when you're at your best?
Yeah, I hope so. My game is not built on a lot of flash, so I think sometimes, it's possible I get overlooked. But I think the game against Aberdeen is a good example of the strengths that I do bring, and I've loved my time here so far. So I hope the fans recognize that as well. But I also know you're only as good as your last performance, so I need to play well again tomorrow night.
James, in matches like this tomorrow, when you're up against some of the best players, it's the toughest opposition you can when you're at this football club. If you've got ambitions of playing in the World Cup in November and December, is it matches like this that you feel like you need to prove yourself?
Yeah, I really believe so, because as you said, these are the closest games you'll get to the World Cup games, and I was not called in for the US's national team camp, and I think it was because of some of the struggles I had, the sending off against Napoli, the Ajax game. So I think it also works the other way around, where I can play myself back into the team with a good performance tomorrow.
And James, just on that, playing against some of the best in the world, what's your learning curve like being at this level, and how much has it inspired you to reach it again?
Yeah, I really have enjoyed the experience. The results have not been good, and no one wants to go through that. But once you take the emotion out of it and focus on what you've learned, I think it's a positive, and I think I'm a much better player for it. It's a lot more fun winning games, winning the games on the weekend, but you don't actually learn that much. It's the games you lose, and the games where you're tested, where you learn the most. So, as a young player, it's really the best thing that that could happen for me.
Any questions from the dailies? No. Is that us? Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kan ik het vertalen in het Nederlands?